Hey guys, Coach Andrew coming at you here live from the hammock in the backyard. It is a beautiful day in northeastern Ohio, and I'm just reading another book. So I've had this one sitting on my shelf for probably 6 months. I've been waiting for the right time to whip this bad boy out, because I've been reading a lot of business books this year. I committed to reading 52 business and self-development books this year, which, don't get me wrong, I enjoy the genre. Helps me level up my business, helps my strategy, my tactics. Most importantly, it helps me level up my clients' businesses because it gives me new ideas, new strategies, and it just gives me a greater overall understanding of the industry, right? Sales, marketing. These things are always changing, so it's really good to get lots of opinions and lots of different perspectives. But at the same time, I really wanted to read some of these books because I love science books. I love reading about, new issues, right? New scientific discoveries. I love reading about psychology. And I really love history books too. I have more science and history books than I could possibly read. I mean, maybe when I'm really old and retired, I'll have time to finally read them all. But I've got 4 bookshelves full of books that are almost entirely history and science. I mean, the one bookshelf that you see in my office in the background of my videos next to the suit of armor, those are pretty much all of my business books and my marketing and sales books. I keep those in the office because that's where they get used. But my other bookshelves are upstairs, and I haven't even touched them like this year because I've been so busy with these business books. So this and Soldiers and Ghosts are the only 2 non-business books I've read this year, but I'm excited to finish this one. And you might be asking yourself, why are semi-trucks so loud? And the answer is, I don't know. But you might also be asking yourself, well, why do you read those books, Andrew? Okay, maybe they're interesting, but what do they actually do for you? What do you gain from learning about artificial intelligence, or in the case of Soldiers and Ghosts, the way Greeks and Romans fought battles of antiquity? What do you gain from learning that? And my answer is simple. I gain a greater understanding of the world that I live in, right? Because the world that I live in is composed of a lot more than just money and funnels and marketing and advertising. If the world was only money, funnels, marketing, advertising, and sales, I wouldn't even want to live here, honestly. I enjoy the stuff. It's a fun way to make money. It's a great way to have an impact on the world, a real world impact in the modern day and age, right? Back in the time of Soldiers and Ghosts, that book I was reading about ancient Rome and Greece, if you wanted to make an impact, you went and conquered someone. But today, you just set up a funnel, film a video sales letter, and sell a product that helps people change their lives. It's a great way to make an impact. But you can't appreciate that unless you fully understand the greater context of the world that we live in, where we came from, how we got where we are today, and what's coming, right? Because artificial intelligence is coming. It's going to be here in our lifetimes. It's going to radically transform the marketplace, the economy. It's going to change everything as we know it in the same way that the internet did in the 80s and 90s, right? In the way the steam engine did in the 1800s. You can't ignore the fact that our world is always changing. It's not going to stay the same. It'll never stay the same. And people in this industry in particular, funnels, coaching, the whole online entrepreneur realm, right? They hyper-focus on the micro changes. Facebook changed its algorithm. Vine closed down. I should have stuck with YouTube or Snapchat. Snapchat is losing stock value. Those are all micro changes. They're little things that happen over the course of a year, a couple decades. This stuff happens over the course of a century, right? And when you read about history, it's the same way. The big macro changes that happen on a global scale and transform society, those changes are slow, they're incremental, they happen over decades. But what we're seeing in today's age, things happen a lot quicker, right? The rate of technological advancement has, more than quadrupled. I don't even know the figure, but it's an exponential increase in information and technology. Nothing is ever going to get slower, from here on out. So I think it's really important to read things about science and to understand the future, because artificial intelligence, it might not have anything to do with your coaching business right now, but it will. It will. And reading books about human psychology and artificial intelligence and mechanization of the workforce is going to open your mind. It's going to give you a greater perspective, and it's going to help you prepare for and anticipate the changes that will be coming. But there's more reasons than that to just read stuff like this. I read history books because it helps me understand how we got where we are. What is America? Why does America even exist? What happened? Where did my ancestors come from? People neglect to draw the connections. I always talk about how life is just a web of connections, right? Everything is connected. And when you understand history, you understand humans, right? You understand human behavior. You understand psychology. You understand politics better. You understand capitalism and the marketplace better. You understand fitness better. Think about the way our ancestors ate their food, the way they hunted, what their diets were composed of. These are the things that shaped our physiology. They're the things that shaped the way our bodies work, the way our muscles work, the way we metabolize different nutrients. It's all based on the things our ancestors did. And people just don't think about it that way. Too many people are caught up in the research. They just want to know, what the latest research journal published, what the latest guy on TV is talking about. And they're not thinking about the roots, right? Because everything has roots. And history helps us dig up those roots and look at them in a way that is actually useful to a modern person. You want to understand, today's election over in England or France or Germany, then you need to understand the United Nations. You want to understand the United Nations, you need to understand World War II. You want to understand World War II, you need to understand World War I. You want to understand World War I, you got to understand everything that came before that. If you can understand the human timeline and put pieces together, you can actually look at the world and see the way that it has grown and evolved and changed, and looked at the forces that have shaped human civilization, whether it was military force, political force, the force of nature. There's all of these different things that are constantly shaping and molding the society that we live in. And when you understand them and see the connections, it makes you a very powerful person. It gives you stories to tell. It gives you analogies to create, metaphors to create. You begin to see the web of connections between science and history and language and technology and psychology and health and fitness and biology and evolution and genetics. It all ties together. So this video was really just kind of a rant, and I hope you extracted some value from what I just said. Because if you're not reading stuff that, if you're not reading stuff that illuminates the dark areas of your mind, right? The shadows that you don't quite understand. Maybe you understand a little bit of geography, a little bit of history, but you need to shine some more light on those areas. These books, right? Lectures, schooling, YouTube videos, documentaries, these things do that for you, right? They turn on more lights in your brain so you can see better, you can understand and think on a larger scale. And you might still be thinking to yourself, well, Coach Andrew, I still don't really see how this can be practically applied to my coaching business and how it makes me a better entrepreneur. And I'm not going to tell you that it'll do that. But I am going to tell you it will make you a smarter person, a more intelligent person who can see things from a larger perspective, from multiple angles, and understand cause and effect at a deep level. And it makes you a more interesting person, right? Gives you better stories to tell, right? I almost never run out of things to talk about because I see connections that other people don't, because I study science and history and language and psychology and business, and I get the way that these things connect. So I encourage all of you to start reading more. And if you don't like reading, that's fine. Get Audible. Listen to audiobooks. I listen to 3 audiobooks a month, hours and hours and hours, just when I'm driving or when I'm sitting on my exercise bike. I'm always learning. I'm always getting new ideas. I'm always learning new concepts and comparing ideas from different perspectives. It gives me an endless amount of things to think about and talk about, make videos about, and I love it. I love it. So that's my message to you guys, right? Don't just be a warrior, okay? Don't just be out there hustling, building your business, making money, be a scholar too, right? Because warriors don't make good decisions, right? If you want to have a well-rounded business, yes, you need to have the hustle, you need to have the grind, you need to be very involved in business and sales and marketing, you need to be working in the now, but you also need the commander, the general, the king. You need the philosopher who can help the warrior make good decisions. Be a warrior philosopher, right? Be a learned man who can go forward into the world with audacity and vigor and get things done, but do it in a correct way. Do it in an ethical, moral, learned, skillful way, right? And the way to do that is to just be well-rounded and constantly learn, right? You'll be glad you did it, I promise. But anyways, I got to finish this chapter. I've got a lot of stuff to do left today, so we'll talk in the next video. Love you guys. Take care.